Welcome back. We still have a few minutes for the markets to start giving us their first indications, the first bids. But we have an important company to track. IOL Chemicals is on our radar. It's a pharmaceutical company, and we are tracking this company because the NPPA, National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, has recently allowed a 50% one-time increase in the case of 3 drugs. And they're very common ones, important ones. Ibuprofen. Remember, ibuprofen is 56% of IOL's total, IOL Chemicals total kitty. So that becomes important. Let's get the management to discuss the impact of this move. Sanjay Chaturvedi, the CEO of IOL Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals, joins us. Mr. Chaturvedi, good morning and thank you very much. Well, this ibuprofen price increase permission makes a big difference. What will be the PLN impact?
Yeah, so this is not uncommon, for prices to be revised. And typically, what happens when the prices are revised is it takes at least 2 quarters for this to have a meaningful impact and reflect on your P&L. So we think that there will be a positive impact to IOL. What remains to be seen is that, when these prices get revised, how much of the value gets captured by the API players and how much is captured by the formulation players. But clearly, we do expect a positive impact for this, and that should reflect in about 2 quarters or so.
You tell us how much is more likely to be captured by the raw material guys and by the finished product makers. I mean, basically, what can it do to your revenue?
Yeah, so I think, assuming the pricing is constant, what this will do is certainly boost up demand. So the volumes will go up. And, because of the therapeutic category that ibuprofen is in, it's competing with, many other products on the market, such as paracetamol. So it's a very dynamic marketplace. Your guess is as good as mine as to what the volume impact will really be. But for sure, there will be a positive volume impact of this.
Okay, so any kind of outlook that you have, particularly for ibuprofen in FY22? In FY21, the company saw lower volumes and the capacity utilization, I think, was around 75 to 80%. Yes. On an average, what could the trend look like in FY22?
So I think on an average, the total asset utilization for ibuprofen will be in that range. We did see a bottoming out of, the demand in the first quarter of this year. But we do expect, a robust growth going forward, certainly from the next quarter onwards. We do expect the volume demand to pick up.
Okay. Well, time permitting, we'll come back to ibuprofen, but want to also ask you a couple of things about the chemical segment, which appears to have worked really well for you. I think the revenue was up 58% when you last reported numbers. What's going right, and has it done any better in Q1, and is it likely to do better in the current quarter?
So, the most important product in our portfolio for the chemical sector is, ethyl acetate, and that has certainly done well for us. And what worked well, particularly well for us, was our enhanced capacity. So if you remember, last time I was on the show, I talked about our capacity going up from about 85,000 tons to, 100,000 tons plus. So we do expect that to have a positive impact on our top line and bottom line. Having said that, the prices had reached an all-time high and now have started to be stable. And in fact, they are slightly on the downward trend for ethyl acetate, but we don't expect that to go down dramatically. So I think what has worked well for our chemical segment is the portfolio of products that we have and the fact that we added capacity at the right time.
Okay, I'll come back to the business in a bit, but lest we run out of time, I have to ask you what you plan to do with the cash on the books. You have around 350 crores of cash. Any plans to return it to shareholders in any form?
Well, all options are on the table. We certainly gave a very nice dividend in the previous year. And what we are evaluating right now is growth options, investing this cash into other growth areas and versus, maybe giving some of it back to shareholders as dividends. So all these options are on the table. And I think in the next quarter or so, you will be hearing from us as to what we plan to do with this.
Okay. Mr. Chaturvedi, your chemicals ibuprofen split has been 35-65, 35 for chemicals. I think fourth quarter you went to 40, but normally it's a 65-35 split. But I think margins are better in chemicals. Will this share change? Will chemicals take center stage?
Yeah, so I don't think that will change. Our strategy going forward is to actually grow both our portfolios, but certainly higher growth is going to come on the pharma side than the chemical side. The increase that we saw on the chemicals was because of essentially price increases on ethyl acetate, but we don't believe that is sustainable. So going forward, we'll come back, we'll scale back on the chemical side and grow much more on the pharma side.
So for API companies, last year there was a big shift, right? There was a lot of demand that moved to India, but now the expectation is that China has re-entered the market. How are the dynamics at the moment, and what is in it for players like you?
So I think if you see what you're saying is absolutely correct. I think how this will play out is India will have to be competitive with China. And in products where we are able to do proper backward integration in the API space, Indian companies will continue to do well. And in products where we still depend on the key intermediates from China, it will be hard to compete with the Chinese players. It will be really cost gain there.
Okay. You're not interested in any of the PLI schemes?
Yes, in fact, the new one that has been launched is of great interest to us. The one remarkable difference between the previous scheme and this one is this one does not restrict it to any set of products. And therefore, I think has piqued the interest not only for IOL, but will certainly do that for other players as well. And we are evaluating it, and we are looking at it very positively, whether we should put a bid for this or not.
If you do, what can be the size of the capex? And I mean, money is cheap, so at the moment, would it be a QIP or something if you want to go beyond the cash you have?
So I think at this point, we may not want to go beyond the cash that we have. It will be certainly from internal accruals. But, we will be qualified under Category B for the scheme. So that is the scale in which we would make the investments.
Okay.
So that can dramatically increase your rate of growth of your CAGR of your EBITDA?
Yes, that should improve both our top line and bottom line. That's the intent.
Okay. Just one final word on the API segment itself. Because of the COVID situation, has the demand gone up? Any COVID-related API sales that you've seen lately and that could boost your financials?
So, some products have gone up. Most of them, unfortunately, don't happen to be our portfolio. I would say that, ibuprofen actually had a negative impact because of a report that came out in Europe, and that impact has now bottomed out. So now we should be able to grow again. In fact, all the recent studies that were published showed that ibuprofen has no negative impact compared to other drugs in terms of managing COVID. So we certainly expect a positive boost from that.
Okay, if ibuprofen has anything negative, I would be dead by now. I think I have consumed it more than anything else. Thank you very much, Mr. Chaturvedi, for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All the very best for FY22.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay.